homework. And I'm thinking, that's a new approach. My thin optics burned down because my house did. Then he showed me a picture, and his house really burned down. But what's the first thing he thought about other than his children and the safety of his pets?
Right.
Thin optics. Because you only can get thin optics from me, not from an insurance company, and not from Jake from State Farm either.
Right, exactly. My first thought was, okay, everybody that I care about is safe. I've got to start rebuilding my life. What are the important things? And I thought, I'm going to see Tony in a month. I know he's going to have a stack of those things. I've got to get my thin ops back because I can't read copy without them.
Exactly. And so how is everything?
And thank you.
And he's going to be signing a lot of insurance papers
yes, he
really
is.
soon.
Rusty will have some papers for you to sign on your way out of the Super Bowl Radio Row. Bruce Murray, we work together at ES. I mean, I work with pretty much everybody in this building.
Right.
Under the pretty much over the age of 30, would you say?
Yes. I was sharing with John before I came over. I said,
John who? Jack.
Jack, I'm sorry.
Why do guys named John call themselves
Jack?
Jack?
Why
I don't
do
know.
you go by Jack?
Jack Kennedy, I think, started it because he was John Fitzgerald.
But
listen,
honestly, it
it's
makes
John-
no
it's the same
sense
thing.
because
No, it makes no
Jack and
sense.
John are the exact same number of letters.
Right. It makes no sense. It's not shortening anything.
Yeah.
No,
But no,
now
I mean,
that I've read the history, but
is
I said,
anybody else named? Is there a nickname for if you're named Jack, like Jack Nicholas? Was his name John or was
No.
it Jack Nicholas?
I'm going to go with Jack.
So why would Jack Nicholas not just change it up and call himself John Nicholas?
I don't know. I call him John Nicholson, who was great in all the movies.
Exactly.
But the way I tell the story is I actually hired you at ESPN. I was there for the auditions.
Yep.
Chuck Wilson, Keith Olbermann. I mean, going all the way back to 1990. That's where it started for us.
Exactly.
So you're taking credit for Tony Bruno.
It's not often that I would, but this is one of those rare moments. Yes, I'm taking credit for Tony Bruno. Exactly.
Wow.
And you
I thought Eric Schoenfeld hired me.
John Walsh to my right. What do you think? I'm like,
Recap show, and let's break it down segment by segment.
right. You do that on this show, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
you
yeah,
must have
sure.
post-show recaps.
Oh,
and here's how the
totally.
meetings would go. They would go, John Davidson, he was John Davidson.
He was good.
Rick Barry was Rick Barry. All right, we can go. And I'm thinking, I'm there for like 40 minutes. I'm stealing Jolt Cola from somebody.
Yep.
Who had the Jolt Cola?
Me.
Yeah, Jolt Cola, so I could stay awake to drive back to New York City. And that was the Sunday night, these meetings, which, again, thank goodness they're over.
Yes.
We don't have those at Sirius.
Well, you're not serious enough. That's why.
No,
probably.
we're not serious enough, yeah.
On your NFL channel. Yes.
Fordham guy, yeah.
And he's
Fordham
not
guy.
even Jewish.
No, he's not. He's Italian.
I know. I just wanted to see.
Yeah, we always talk about, how we're very similar. We both have bank accounts and talk with our hands. That's the Jews and Italians. It's the same thing, isn't it?
It's a bond.
What's the difference? You do the same thing.
Exactly.
Nothing's with your hands at your sides.
No. I used to have
And you have guilt.
I should have my hands cupped behind my back because it is Atlanta after all, and it's the 19th anniversary of the Ray Lewis Super Bowl down here.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. I don't know.
So now I saw you at the radio. I saw you at the media night or
Right.
the opening night.
Right. You were in your smoking jacket.
I had brought it back today because I had Michael Irvin on the show, so I had to do that.
And again, you're not sensitive to anything that's gone on in my life, because you wore your smoking jacket. I mean, think about that with what I'm
But that's
living
not a
through.
smoking jacket.
No, that's-
Luigi, is that a smoking jacket?
No, it's not a smoking jacket.
What is that?
It's a tux jacket.
From Domenico's
It's a
on
Paisley
Common
tux
Avenue.
jacket.
It's a smoking jacket. No,
It's
it's
a smoking jacket.
It's a smoking jacket.
No, I've been to the mansion when Huff was alive, and I know what a smoking
Oh, you
jacket
do?
looks like, pal. And that's not a smoking jacket. It doesn't even smell like nicotine or weed or anything, man.
I don't know. It just
It
doesn't.
smells like Juul, though, a little bit, though.
Jesus,
Is that what's in the pockets? Yeah. So anyway, you opening night, we're there together.
Yep.
And you're dapper. I saw somebody there in an evening gown. Did you notice her?
No, was that Robin?
And I
No.
No.
you weren't in an evening gown. No.
I
No,
don't
I
dress
had
up
wi-
for those
I
things.
had
somebody in-
wine spilled on me last night.
Yeah.
So I'm looking down. Immediately, I checked to see are we on the red carpet and it was blue carpeting. And I'm wondering, I know everybody's got to have that angle, that hook, whatever it is. But an evening gown,
Yeah.
I'm not really getting
And
that
then
one.
there was a guy in a clown suit.
Yeah.
And
I
he
thought
was
that
actually,
you.
he's actually a real member of the media. That's the
Yeah.
worst part.
I didn't even show up till later on that night. I was gonna say.
Exactly. but it's the craziness is not as bad as it used to be. Remember they used to have MTV people go up there. Now little kids, they finally, because it's so tight now and there's no room for anybody, that all the flakes and all the people who are the barrel boy and those kinds of people, they're few and far between now.
Right, and it's become an entertainment event made for TV. And,
Exactly.
And you're right.
And the fans in the
transitioned out of-
stands.
Right.
But for media, there's really not much you get because the very next morning they come back here and have press conferences where you can actually ask questions where there's
Right.
no fans, not because the fans make the game, but the media actually gets quotes like the commissioner today, right? He addressed a lot of things. Now I didn't hear it, but I know he was talking about
heard a lot.
the bad penalties in the championship games. What did he say about especially the one in the New Orleans Saints game?
So I didn't like the way he responded. And again, this is a league that, this as well as anybody, Tony. They move very slowly when it comes to accepting change. And he talked about what a great job the officials do. He talked about how fast-paced the game is. He talked about the unintended consequences of potentially expanding replay. I don't like any of it. We have technology today.
Right.
We have high-definition TV where they can show us within a blade of grass whether a guy was inbounds or out of bounds.
Yep.
And yet they're always finding excuses not to embrace it. To be honest with you, first of all, I think his silence this week was deafening.
Absolutely.
I think there should have been a statement. Now, I understand he's in the awkward position. He can't come out the way we would go. That was horrible.
But I don't want to rip the officials
No.
either because they do a great job. In fact, every call that was challenged, they got it right.
Yeah.
And that's what you want.
Yeah, just have a commissioner that comes out and says, look, I'm a fan too, and I accept nobody wants to see a game come to an end that way, and I share, and we have to do a better job. So that part was deafening.
I heard Andy Reid say that for 13 years in Philly. We got to do a better job.
Yeah.
What else did he say, Luigi? He said a lot of things, Andy Reid. And he was
okay,
one.
don't worry about it. Enjoy the win,
Enjoy the win, man. Remember, as much as we love the Patriots, unless you're a Jets fan or a Buffalo Bills fan or a Miami Dolphin fan, D Ford being a little bit offside cost them the game.
Yes, it
more
did.
than any other penalty or anything else.
And I will tell you,
that was a legit call.
Game was over. The game was over.
It was a legit call, but and Bill Polian obviously may have a little anger directed towards the Patriots, but he now works with us at NFL Radio, and he goes, "Let me tell you something. That is a play that is not called without a prior warning. That just doesn't get flagged without some sort of warning." And, he's not saying it's a conspiracy theory,
Right.
but, that play does determine the outcome of that football game. And he thought the officials did a bad job in that situation.
Yeah, but they by the
got
book.
it right. They got
by
it right.
the book. That's what they go. Well, by the book, it says rule so and so. He didn't even realize it because I saw the NFL the Showtime show
Right.
where they had him mic'd, and he went over. He said, "Was I offside?"
Right.
He didn't even realize. But you got to look down the line of scrimmage and know where it is, even though there's no line there that they see.
I'm not giving him a pass.
No, I know.
But sometimes it would be, hey, D, back up a foot.
Right.
There would be a warning before they flag it the next time you do it.
And then that play turns into an interception and a kneel down situation, and the game's over. And again, I'm not rooting for either side. I did pick the Chiefs, but I'm not bitter or broken. I didn't bet on it.
No,
I think you got to get it right.
I picked the Chiefs, and I am bitter and broken. So you and I are different. Yeah, I'm bitter and broken about the whole thing.
You hate the Patriots?
No. I don't hate the Patriots. It's hard to hate the Patriots.
Who do you hate? Really, when you think of it, who do you really hate? Let's get it all out on the table here. This is Radio Row.
It's hard. I work on NFL radio. I grew up a Giants fan.
Right.
Read into that. I'm not a big fan of the Redskins. I'm not a big fan of the Eagles, although now I have visited the Eagles the last couple of years of training camp, and it's hard not to like so many guys.
Yeah, they're likable guys.
Doug Peterson and Wentz and
Nick Foles.
Yeah,
who's nicer than Wick?
They're all good
Foles.
guys, right? So sometimes you soften your hatred for these teams, but
it's a sports hate. That's what because the Cowboys. I hate the Cowboys because I'm an Eagle fan.
Right.
But I don't hate Michael Irvin's one of my good friends. Troy Aikman. Guys are great guys who are great players,
Correct.
Hall of Famers.
So here's the thing. I had a sports hate as a kid, as a Giants fan, the Giants were awful. Grandchildren and your children living through this time, which will never be duplicated.
I agree.
That's the thing. I think a majority of people spend so much time hating everything they're seeing and just like turning their nose to it instead of stopping and realizing what you are watching and appreciate because you may never see it again.
Yeah.
Right, but we can't.
I hate
I know
all
we
this.
can't.
We can't.
That's the
We
problem.
can't.
I know
Listen,
we can't.
I really hate all this hate, man. It's
Not me. I actually appreciate
I embrace the hate.
You embrace hate?
I embrace the hate because
Isn't that a show on ESPN in the morning? Embrace the hate.
Embrace the hate.
if not, it will be starting Monday.
We should call this show "Embrace the Hate."
You just gave them another idea.
Or haters gonna hate. If
Because
you wanna-
everything they roll out is just gold, Tony. It's gold. No, I come here and I get
Embrace the
myself
hate.
fired. But
I hate hate.
That's what sports fans do. There's nothing wrong with it.
I know that's what makes us fans.
Yeah, exactly. If you didn't hate something, you wouldn't love something. Then you'd be
Exactly.
like, it's fine. Hate is good as long as it's not, like directed with like the way people do on Twitter with actual threats,
Yeah.
which I find to be absurd.
I do
it's
too.
okay to root against and hate a team.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I hate you, but I love you at the
Right.
same time.
You haven't threatened me yet, and there's nothing to threaten anymore because what are you going to do?
The man's house burned down, Tony. What else do you want to do to the guy?
They're burning my house
So,
down.
no,
Go ahead.
literally, I need an update on the house. So how soon can you're obviously living somewhere else in an apartment or something, right? Where are you living?
I'm in a storefront.
Exactly.
Well, other than that, I mean here. I'm talking about when you go back to New York.
I have family that lives in New York. They've been kind enough to take us in these short term. Well, I think they're getting ready to.
So your family hasn't abandoned you after all these years in the broadcast medium.
Not yet, but like most of my jobs, they're ready to jettison me. so we're in the process of looking for some place to go in the short term. And then,
so if you're in the New York metropolitan area, Chappaqua
yes.
adjacent.
Why don't you give out the address?
No, but Chappaqua, because Chappaqua is a 3-block street.
Yeah.
Chappaqua adjacent.
Yes.
Preferably in Nassau County.
Nassau County is on Long Island.
I know, but
Yeah.
maybe you want to get a little further away from the city.
No, my parents live on Long Island. I can't go back.
Bethpage, maybe.
No, Westchester.
I know where Westchester is.
Westchester.
That's
I
where
wanna
the Chief
stay
John
there.
Martin lives. He lives up in
Exactly.
what's the name? White Plains.
Exactly.
That area. I know
The
New
Chief-
York.
yeah.
What do you think I am? Some schlub who's never traveled?
Well, you're sending me back to the island where I grew up.
Yeah, but I figure all Jews eventually want to go back to Long Island.
No, Miami.
Well, that
island.
too.
Yeah, the peninsula.
The peninsula. Where else are you getting this on Radio Row?
Luckily, probably nowhere else.
With good fortune, nowhere else.
You never
exactly.
break down the tribe and all the other good things about the Jewish sports heroes and break it down like when we all do lists and like the Mount Rushmore of Jewish athletes and.
You know, when I was on Mad Dog Radio, occasionally, the NFL radio is a little different.
No,
it's a little
I know.
more
It's
buttoned up. You know,
exactly.
we've got to stay on topic. You know,
Right.
Mad Dog, I would open the show and talk about the bad ride I had on the subway and turn that into 4 hours. I'd show up and I'd be like, I got no material for today. It's July. What the hell?
The Mets stink. The Yankees stink.
Get into a subway conversation, and boom, next thing you know, you got 4 hours. You know, I worked with Bill Pito for a while on Mad Dog. You remember Bill Pito?
Of course, we worked together at ESPN on the Deuce.
And let me tell you something. Bill Pito provided enough content for shows. The man, I'm going to share a story with you about Bill Pito.
You know, Bill Pito's on MSG Network.
Knicks Rangers,
but he was at ESPN. He did the updates, and he'd say, we got a developing situation.
Exactly.
That was him.
Exactly. So Bill Pito, who is, and I say this because I love him and we work together, and we did this on the air, so I'm not saying anything out of turn, is one of the most awkward people you'll ever meet. You know, he just does things that he thinks are normal, and then other people go, what are you thinking? So, holiday party at Sirius.
Not a Christmas party, though.
Not a Christmas party.
Okay.
It's a holiday
Just
party.
want to make sure they're PC over there.
So we get, they get the sandwiches, and he's got a napkin.
All right.
And he's got to go to the bathroom. Takes the sandwich into the bathroom, sets it down on the urinal,
No.
picks it up, and finishes the sandwich, and thinks that's okay. I'm uncomfortable when people bring their beers in and put them on top of the urinal.
agree.
That's me. That's just me.
I totally
I'm a little
agree with you.
Seinfeldish, I know. Maybe that's the
a little
neurosis.
bit, but it's okay.
Yeah, it's a little. But a sandwich on a
sandwich
thin,
crossed the line.
on a thin napkin. So the next day, of course, we have to ask our listeners whether or not this is acceptable behavior. And when you don't have a show planned, it's a perfect 4 hours.
It's not acceptable in Biafra if you're going to do that. How would it be
No matter
acceptable?
how hungry you are.
There are just certain things you do not do.
How about that for a good Biafra drop? How many people can go that deep when breaking down people who don't have food and will do anything to find food, as opposed to rich people who, not rich, but people who are well off, have a great career and a great life, taking a sandwich in a toilet and a urinal and putting it on top with a one-piece napkin.
Right. And I'm not an advocate of wasting food, but in that situation, go out and get a new sandwich. The food was not going fast.
Or how about this?
Leave the
Don't
sandwich.
bring it in with you in the first place.
Well, that's the whole point. His acceptance of that being okay
Acceptable.
socially. Yeah,
Right.
like he didn't even think twice about it. He just walked in and dropped it on the
When Robin and I are traveling, we're in an airport, I got to go to the bathroom, I leave my briefcase. I don't even take my briefcase into the bathroom.
Remember, when you go into a restroom, you don't bring anything in. You leave things in
Right.
the restroom. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Right, and I have that same neurosis. I will wheel it and I'll leave it by the door so I can see it.
Right.
But I don't want it. I'm not pulling that thing into the bathroom.
No, you know how much matter is in the air? You know what's floating around in there?
Well, I mean, let's. Get
I don't
down to-
mean down there.
but-
I mean up in the air.
But you really got to get into it, though. What kind of sandwich was it?
You know, this is a
doesn't
long
matter.
time ago. It was, I think, to make it worse, I think it was some sort of soft mayonnaise sandwich, maybe like tuna salad, which would make it worse, right?
Yeah.
Because, the elements and the fragments that are in here,
The
they
whole thing.
adhere to the mayo. That's why it is. I mean,
Yeah.
I thought maybe this was some sort of a high
Mayonnaise is bad enough.
Yeah.
Because if it's made with eggs and if it's sitting out, you don't know. That's why when I go to a place and there's a mayonnaise bowl, I ain't going anywhere near that.
No, maybe Robin would have appreciated the fact if it was like some sort of an expensive lox or something like that. Maybe at that point.
Nope.
No
No?
kip,
No.
no
All right.
kip, no
No.
schmears, no kippered salmon, and
Kippered salmon.
No, and,
That's
and
pretty
you
good.
know why?
That's good.
right.
Why?
I've actually brought a black light into a restroom at like somebody's home before,
Oh.
my own home, and you can see what happens in a private home. I can even imagine
even
what
wanna know.
happens in
I
a
know.
urinal where people have been drinking and guys are.
I'm so
a
glad they
total
fixed the
mess.
Penn Station bathrooms. Now I feel perfectly comfortable now that they redid Penn Station in New York. And now I'll bring a sandwich in there just to prove how clean it is and what a great job they've done.
You know, it was in Seinfeld, but George was always the neurotic,
Yes.
guy with the bathrooms, and I think he was onto something. It's never been done, but he knew where all the good bathrooms were in New York City.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's an app. That's an app idea right there. Locate where you are and then
Yeah.
Well, if
grade the
San
bathrooms.
Francisco can have the human excrement app, then New
Oh,
York
yeah.
can have the
clean bathroom app.
app.
They
Yeah.
tell you where to park in New York. There's a parking app.
They got everything.
Exactly.
I will- I got-
We have broken it all
Meanwhile.
down. Meanwhile, yes.
You're actually ending the show for us
Oh,
today.
we
Yes.
are?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're closing.
Tell
You
me
gotta
when we
bring-
got to go. When are we out of time?
No, you can bring the house. We do whatever we want here.
You
can
brought
bring.
the house
I need
down.
a strong finish here, Bruce. Bruce Murray from Sirius XM NFL Radio.
I'm out of material. We got to go. I got one more pedo story. Here's another good pedo story. 'Cause
Does it involve food and urinals?
It
and,
involves food. It involves
okay.
food. Great pizza place down the block on 49th Street, Manhattan.
Ray's, not the original
No,
Ray's.
it was, I'm not going to give the name because I think they moved. One of the best pizza places in New York City. Everybody always thinks
Was
it's
it
the
Greek
best.
or an Italian joint?
No, it's Italian.
Okay.
It's Italian. Everybody thinks it's the best, pizza. Ray's. You can walk in anywhere and get a great slice.
I
It's like,
agree.
a cheesesteak in Philadelphia, etc.
Right.
So there was a great pizza place down the block. They get closed down by the Board of Health. Okay. They're shut down for about a month. And we used to go there every Friday after the show, kind of recap the week, have some laughs, etc. They finally reopen. Bill walks in, sees our buddy behind the counter, and goes, "Hey, when did you guys reopen? What happened to the Board of Health?" To a full restaurant. to a full restaurant of tourists.
Well, we actually
When did you get open?
They get those rats out of here or what?
we actually have a rat story, New York rat story.
Yes.
We were going up for the
8th
Oberman
Avenue.
show.
8th Avenue,
So
walking
we were
toward
going
the
up
train
every
station.
week for the Oberman show, and we would stay over Friday night, and then Saturday we would go back on the train.
Right.
So every Saturday morning we would go by. I think it was a Dunkin'
It was
Donuts.
a Dunkin' Donuts on 8th Avenue.
And Tony
on
would
a
go
corner.
in, and he would get
And
coffee.
I get coffee, and I get like a croissant with egg and cheese,
Right.
Well, one night we are there at a different time. So we're walking by that same Dunkin' Donuts at night, not when it's open, and there's a glass window that looks into all of the bread racks in the back,
bagel
and
racks
that you can
right
see,
there,
yeah.
everything that you can see, and Tony and I are looking at it, and you can see like 5 or 6 rats just wandering around. And so he took video of it. Well, we were planning on posting it ourselves, but that very next day it got closed down. So obviously we were not the only ones.
Yes.
And you're here to tell about it.
Yeah, and
That's
again,
the key. Despite
we're
the
public
croissant-
servants. I'm trying to help. So then I walk by, and then we see that it's closed with the Board of Health, and I'm like, I had how many egg and cheese sandwiches in that place? How many times did I... A mangiare. Yes.
Ay,
It wasn't,
ay,
what's
ay.
her name? You know,
Lydia
Lydia
Bastianich.
Bastianich. You know Lydia Bastianich? Have you been to her restaurants in
I
New
have
York?
not. No.
What do they call? She's got a whole bunch of them.
I don't know what
I don't
it's
know.
Lydia's restaurant.
She's on like public television. She's like a...
I don't have a
It's
television
something,
anymore.
it's something
You know?
table.
No,
The house
people
burnt down, Tony.
Tony, I have nothing. I have no possessions. No
Isn't
TV.
it like Lydia's Table or something like that?
No, that's her TV show, but she's
Okay.
got restaurants with good names and good food and overpriced wine.
But I hate
Yes.
to tell you, I have to pee again, so
We
we,
all
really
do.
have to.
All right, we're going to
end
go
the
home.
show.
I got to go do my Madden simulation now.
Yes.
Did you see that thing over
I
there?
did not see it. No.
There's like 50 cameras, and it scans you, and then you become a 3D hologram.
Why do you keep starting to talk about something new when we
Okay, I
already
just wanted to tell
established
Bruce
that we
because-
have to go?
I
Because
was
I'm
in
really
time.
interested.
I was in the game, and that's why I should be in the damn thing. Bruce, good to see you, brother.
Yeah, it's good to see you. I'll see you
Hope
next
everything-
year.
Yeah, if you need me to come up and do some work around if you
Around
remodeling
the house.
Yeah, I mean, if you need help, don't go hire some like shady contractor
No, hire you.
because what's his name's no longer on in New York. What's the guy's Bill?
Meanwhile,
what's the guy who used to do? I am something, and I'm on your side. Remember that guy?
Oh yeah. Was it Sue on your side? What was it?
Yeah, but there was a guy who was a sweaty guy.
Yeah.
I got to eat something.
Can you
now.
wrap this up because
Seriously.
everybody wants to go?
Seriously,
I know, we're
Sinatra.
giving him food,
One of
so
my
we're
favorite.
hoping that that's
All
going
right,
to
Bruce,
shut
get
him
Food
out.
in your mouth.
Let me just say this, ladies and gentlemen. Bruce Murray. And the next time you see him, just remember to say,
Get out! Get out!
Exactly. Good to see you, man. In the meantime, that's going to do it from Radio Row. How many guests did we have today?
A lot, Tony.
A lot.
That's
not
about
an answer.
8. About 8.
No, it's more than 8.
About 8 or 9.
Are you kidding me?
Oh, well, you know what? Schleber's was a double up.
No, we had at least 11.
And Merrill Hodge wasn't on. Well, I didn't see Hodge. I didn't have him on top of it.
Count them down, Robin.
3, 4, 5, 6,
Like 11
7,
guests.
8,
And it wasn't quantity.
9, right?
10, 11.
Oh, 11,
We have
11 again.
11.
11
Yes.
again.
You're not getting out on Seriously Sinatra because everybody on that channel's dead. Anybody who, and I love Frank Sinatra. You're not getting that on NFL radio on Sirius XM with Bruce Murray.
And we're not getting to the bathroom anytime soon either. Come on. Jesus.
In the meantime, keep looking out on our Patreon feeds, Instagram, Tony Bruno Show, TonyBrunoShow.com. I got to go eat. Let's go eat. We'll see you tomorrow here on Radio Row.